Hello, everyone. My name is Abby Arbeta. I currently work as a copywriter for an advertising agency, and I'm also a spoken word poet with Words Anonymous. And I have a love-hate relationship with words and writing, and currently, words are winning. And forgive me for my expletive. I am so fucking scared to be on this stage right now. Because I am an extroverted introvert with a fear of public speaking. Ironic, I know I'm a spoken word poet, but I swear I am so scared to be like right in front of y'all. And I know I can already hear my friends, they're like screaming to me, lies, 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 lies. No, you can speak on stage, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, I'm afraid. Not only because there's like more than 1,000 of you right here, but also because I'm not really used to divulging deeply personal things about myself with many people, and that's why I'm scared. But I'm gonna try and take you on a journey with me. So before anything else, who here is familiar with spoken word poetry? Can I have a show of hands? All right, oh my God, that is amazing. That's a lot of people. But for those who don't know, in a nutshell, spoken word poetry is performance poetry. It's as if poetry and theater came together and had a wonderful baby, just like what Sarah Kay said in her TED Talk. It can come in many different forms like storytelling, comedy, hip hop, jazz poetry, and the like. Um, and whew, my teleprompter is not working, and I'm really scared right now. Hey, next, please. I love you. Thank you. This is always my thing. Hello. Hello, people. I am like really. Hi! Thank you. Yay! Okay, so again, spoken word poetry in the past few years has been gaining a lot of traction locally, coming out from the underground and online and becoming part of festivals, curriculums, concerts, and even mainstream media. Who here watches Otwal? Who here watches Otwal? Yes, right. Spoken word poetry brought it to Otwal brought spoken word poetry to mainstream media, and it is such a wonderful thing that we're reaching so many people at that point in time. So our group, Words Anonymous, is a very young group. We're barely 2 years old. We are composed of people coming from many different backgrounds. We have a med student. We have a newly licensed physical therapist, a couple of kids who work in advertising and PR, a new mom, an FA that flies all over the world, a guy that works in events, a college professor, a special effects makeup artist, and a couple of working writers. Though we all have these diverse paths in life, we are guided by one important principle. And this principle is that all stories are important and they all deserve to be heard. So we each had our own reasons for choosing spoken word poetry. Some started because they were coming from a heartbreak. Some were stuck and needed to try something new, while some felt like they have something extremely important to say, while some were looking for a place to share their work. While I personally just wanted to be able to share stories that I never had the courage to say aloud. So this afternoon, I'm going to share with you one of these stories, and this is a piece that is called 300 Seconds. Tonight, I'm wearing the same outfit I wore the day that you left. I remember how you smelled of the night before, like cotton candy and horrible decisions. I remember how the sunrise hit your peaceful sleeping face, how being in your arms felt like home, how I woke you with a kiss, and then you responded with a faint smile and asked me what time it was. I remember how I wanted to turn our last few moments into infinity, but I only had 5 minutes left. How does one condense years and years and years of emotion into 300 seconds? 300. I love you. No, I'm kidding. I fucking hate you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I really do love you. 245, you hurt me. 220, please don't go. 203, how could you do this to me? 187, I'm here. Choose me. 145, I promise. I promise I'll be stronger this time. 119, stay. 100, who do you think you are? How dare you leave me? 45, I need you. 15, kiss me, goddammit, before I go crazy. 3, love me. All I ever wanted was for you to love me. But these are the things I can never say out loud. I never had the courage to. I still don't. Thank you. That piece was called 300 Seconds. Okay, oh my God. So many stories remain untold because people don't have the courage to say them aloud. A lot of people just don't know how to start telling their stories. Most of the time, it's because they're so used to feeling that their stories are unimportant, that they're not even worth hearing or sharing. They've gotten so used to being silent or silenced that even if they know they have something important to say, they've become so content to live a life that someone else figured out for them. I grew up in a very conservative and very strict household where my parents' word was law. I wasn't allowed to veer too far away from the box that I was raised in. No, I wasn't raised in a literal box. We had a very nice house and a yard. And I know my parents raised me in the best way they knew how, and I always, always, always be thankful for that. But I knew that I was meant for other things. What I knew to be true was so, so far different from what was presented to me as truth. I forced myself into the box I knew I didn't fit into. I struggled with wanting to be myself and with wanting to be what society wanted me to be. For a long time, I kept my head down and my mouth shut. I've become a war zone hidden behind a welcoming smile and an all-around good girl persona. I was seen as a good daughter because I fit into what society wanted me to be. But I knew deep inside I was lying to myself over and over and over again. It was someone else's voice that was speaking out for me. So why is it important to find one's voice? 2 things. 1, finding your voice enables you to live out your truth, to be honest with yourself. Last week, a good friend of mine did a talk for TEDxADMU, and she said that writing is the most honest conversation one can have with yourself. So it was through writing that I was able to figure out my truth and began to figure out my voice. My mom instilled to me at a very young age that habit of writing your thoughts down, and so I filled notebooks upon notebooks of thoughts and dreams. So what started out as a diary became a collection of poems, stories, and essays that were written to draw my voice out. I'm still in the process of figuring out what my voice really sounds like, but I'm getting there. 2, finding your voice enables you to extend that honesty towards others. So not only are you going to be honest with yourself, you're also extending that honesty towards others, most especially when you share your work. So sharing your work allows you to open yourself to other people and let them see you as you really are, not this mask that you present yourself to be. So this voice can come out through various forms. It could be through an insightful essay, or a painting, or a song, or a dance, or a screenplay, or even a spoken word piece. So spoken word as a platform has been a great way for us at Words Anonymous to express our sentiments that would have been otherwise difficult for us to talk about in a normal conversation. For example, like coming out as part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Coming out is really, really hard already, but spoken word has given us a platform for that. Talking about issues of gender identity, mental illness, and even abuse. It was at Sev's Cafe that gave us a safe space to speak our minds and pour out our heart's content without fear of judgment through their poetry and open mic nights. You didn't need to be an expert to step on the stage and share your story. The only rule we lived by when we did the poetry and open mic nights was that as long as you weren't doing anything illegal or breaking any of the equipment, you're good. We just wanted to be like in good terms with the owners, so like we follow those rules. And this rule, this solitary rule, gave the courage to many people to step out of their comfort zone, get up on that stage, and share their story. We started out as a couple of kids in South's Cafe in 2014, no more than 15 people every open mic night, 30 on a good night, who wanted a stage for their work. And as word got around that there was a space like this, more and more people started attending the open mics and began sharing their work. It was through these open mics at South's that we got to know each other. We discovered ourselves and found home as we shared stories of love, pain, loss, heartbreak, gender identity, abuse, body issues, mental health issues, and many, many more. We at Words Anonymous each found our voice through those poetry and open mic nights. We were finally able to share the stories that we felt that can make an impact and began discussions. It was in spoken word that we saw how powerful words really are, how they can make or break a person, and that in a short period of time, you can leave a lasting impact in someone's life, and possibly even save one. Personally, as cliche as this might come across, I'd like to say that spoken word saved my life. I first discovered spoken word through a friend who shared a couple of videos with me that she felt was fit for my situation. At that time, I was 19, living my life crazily, living two lives at once. But yeah, at that time I was a lost kid who thought she was all alone in the world. A young girl struggling to figure herself out and live out her truth. It was through those spoken word pieces that I watched that I began to feel like I wasn't alone, and that I didn't have to be alone. It was also through spoken word that I'm now returning the favor, using this newfound voice to hopefully reach out to someone and make a difference in someone's life. Because finding your voice is not just about being able to talk and utter words, because one can talk and 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 talk, but not really say anything. It's about connecting to other people, establishing that connection, and sustaining it. So as a group, we try to recreate that atmosphere wherever we go. We collaborate with different groups and organizations that have issues that are near and dear to our hearts. For example, like Metro Manila Pride, Women Create, and Dakila, to name a few. That once we step into that performance space, it is safe to become vulnerable and expose the ugliest parts of ourselves that we don't really talk about, and share in the experience with the hope that it will lead to more people becoming brave enough to share their own stories and find their own voices. So, to close the session, I'd like to call on some members of my family. I'd like to call on Roch, Luis, Trevor, and Serge to join me on stage as we share with you this one final piece. Thank you. Okay. One, two. In the beginning was the Word.
The fire brought down by Prometheus himself.
As it churned in our bellies and turned into the human voice.
With it, we became gods.
Let there be poetry.
Shakespeare.
Ginsberg.
Cummings.
Keith Dickens.
Poe,
Wordsworth.
Keats. Sexton.
Bronte.
Angelou,
Rizal.
Plath.
Neruda.
K and K.
and Kanye,
Gabrielle.
Lazarte.
Meats.
Orbeta.
Viloria,
And the
And the
Word was with us.
And the Word was us.
With
words we came, we saw, we conquered.
The power to create at the stroke of a pen.
Breathing life with our lungs, our tongues, and our lips.
Words.
through which a thought like a virus spreads.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood.
Once upon a midnight dreary, as I pondered weak and weary.
To err is human, to forgive, divine.
Gather ye rosebuds while ye may.
There's nothing you can do that can't be done.
Hello, darkness.
Just
my
a
old
small
friend.
town girl living in a lonely word.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
You used to call me on my cell phone.
I promise I will choose you the same way I chose my first Pokemon. Unsure at first, unbelievably excited, and like it was the greatest decision I would ever have to make in my life.
I went to see my therapist today.
I am loved. I am sane enough to function. I am all right.
This is dedicated to all of those who swiped right, swiped left, and all of the misconnections they may have made.
Reasons why pretty girls won't date me. Number one,
In
the beginning was the Word.
Welcome to my nightmare. My voice grates and screeches like claws on a blackboard and nails down a lover's back because my poetry is painful, and like pain, I would like to remind all of us that we are alive. But it isn't all about pain. Poetry is also about fighting back against a universe that simply does not care. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. In the beginning was the Word.
Come on into my playground. Follow my wails like a siren song and see how I've made all of my ugly pretty for you. Listen to how I use my words to create and destroy and 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 create and destroy. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Ignore me. I'm gonna change this.
In
the beginning was
the Word, and the world fell in love with it. How I dressed it up in good clothes and took it dancing. How I got it just drunk enough to tell the truth. I speak and I become easier to look at. I speak and suddenly there's a semblance of sense. I speak and all of the sidewalks start folding like paper when I pass.
In the beginning was the Word, and it was always uncomfortable, but it was always the truth. I pick at the scabs from all that despair that healed, and you called lessons. I turned them into puzzle pieces. Turn your heartbreak upside down and rearrange the hurts. And even if a jigsaw puzzle is basically a picture cracked in so many places, you still call it beautiful.
In
the beginning was the Word.
And the Word was made flesh, and His words became a weapon, the kind used to fight against tyranny and oppression. These words, this poetry, this is my weapon. This is my lightsaber, my adamantium claws, my vibranium shield, my blaster, my blade, my bow, my cross, the force, if you will. And will it, I shall. But don't get me wrong, my poetry can be gentle as well. My poetry is as gentle as a goodnight kiss, or a kiss goodnight. As gentle and as calm as a magic carpet ride. My poetry is loss and gain, is happiness and pain, and every single thing I've experienced in between.
But
words without the poet's soul
Are but lines in the sand meant to be forgotten.
A breath exhaled into space, lost among the stars.
A scrawl on a barroom napkin ready to be thrown away.
Word,
An echo in the
an
valley of
echo in the
darkness.
valley of darkness with no one to hear it.
A tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
But with soul, poetry can be anything. Spirituality, inspiration, dinosaurs
A
even.
creation like stars and galaxies, the universe itself.
The cure for loneliness, an elixir that'll make you live forever.
A lover that can keep you up at night and will never leave you.
A mirror that will show you who you really are.
And the poet saw what was written, and it
was
was
good.
good.